Hey, Pat.
Hey.
Are you excited?
What about, mate?
To talk about Venom.
I reckon we could find better things to talk about.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bearded Geeks, the weekly grab bag of topics covering movies, comics, video games, and TV. My name is Jages. I'm the Beard Master, and with me today, it's the marvellous Patrick Brown.
G'day, mate.
Hi, buddy.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I've got that cough again. I was just saying this just before we hit record. It's like this. It's like in a horror movie. Every time I come in this room and I sit in this chair, I get that cough I had like 2 weeks ago.
It's been watching too much Haunted of Hill House.
It's like The Conjuring, you know, whether in the second one, whether he's got the chair in the corner and the corner's like all mouldy and shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably like that. It's just mould. It's just mould. It's black mould. How you been?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, going well.
Mate, I got beef.
Beef.
Straight off the bat.
Here we go.
Alright, here's the thing, bearded listeners. The Beard Master, when he was putting the Beard Cave together, he got some chairs for everyone to sit on. Now, they're not the comfiest chairs. They're pretty rough on the backside and on the back. You know, they're only fold-up chairs. They're pretty basic. So, normally the guys will throw on some towels or some blankets or something like that to sit on to make it a bit easier. So, fucking Patrick Brown turns up tonight and he's brought an outdoor folding chair with a big fancy cushion on it. I'm like, what is this?
Oh, I had to, mate. I had to. I just
Go
thought...
on, mate. If you hear a bit of comfy shifting and like it sounds like someone rubbing their ass on a soft cushion, it's Patrick Brown just shifting, and it does look pretty comfy.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought the amount of times I've had a numb ass just from the other ones. But it's not too bad. Like, yeah, no, this would be good. Thought I'd give it a go.
It's a good looking chair, mate.
Yeah,
it's a good looking chair.
Just the old outdoor chair from home.
Now, you've made a home gym.
Oh, yeah.
You put together a home gym.
Yeah, I did recently. It was a bit of a sacrifice because I had... That area was already like an entertainment setup, you know, big couch and TV and everything and surround sound. But then I was like, I kind of thought of it over time. I was like, I'm going to turn it into a home gym. I think I'd get way more use out of it. Ever since I've had the new baby, just haven't really gone in there. So I thought, let's make use of it and quit my gym membership and get a home gym. So yeah, no, it's good. I got a big giant frame, big power rack, got everything set up for bench press. Stoked. Absolutely stoked.
You got the Arnold set up.
Yeah, the Arnold. More energy.
You can just put like pumping iron on for inspiration.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm coming down, mates.
Yeah, I actually did.
Oh, did you really?
I put it on in the background because Mason's in there with me, little 4-year-old, and he's trying to work out, what are you doing, Dad? It's like they don't understand, like, why am I pushing weights? Why am I lifting things? And they don't get why. So I was like, well, how about I put this video on? And I said to him, this is why. This is the goal, you know, you get... And I put Arnold pumping iron on YouTube, and he's just watching it. And he's like, he's like Superman. He goes...
You're just like, Daddy's getting swole, son. Daddy's getting swole.
So he understands it's to get... Yeah, you get bigger.
So I was thinking about this the other day, because I haven't actually seen the gym yet. I haven't been around since you've had the gym.
Oh, yeah?
And I was thinking about it, and I was like, you call it the Pat Cave. Now you've got a gym in there. You're pretty much like the Bruce Wayne of Summerhill. So you've got like the Pat Cave, you've got the gym in there to keep you in peak Patman bloody size.
Form.
And then you've got the Pat computer in the corner.
Yeah.
And you've got like all your trinkets and shit. It's not exactly like a dinosaur or a giant coin or two-sided coin or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're pretty much like, you're Pat Man.
Yeah, mate. Yep. Oh, that's pretty good. I never thought of it like that, actually.
Well, you're Bruce Wayne to me, mate. You're Bruce Wayne to me.
No, it's good. It's a fun little setup, yeah. Makes more sense just to have a gym in there.
I'm waiting you for invite me around so we can have a bloody double session.
Yeah, mate. I'll give you a month free membership. You saw yours.
I'll bring no, I just want to do like let's just match each other.
We will, mate. Come in and I'll
go set for
spot
set.
Ya.
Set for set, I'll bring your spew bucket.
Your spew bucket.
I got a big 20-litre spew bucket I bought. So when you push me too far, I can reach up.
I'll push you to the limit.
And I just like turn my head and just watch Arnold on the TV pumping iron.
Have you ever hit that?
And I'm just like, I'm coming down, mates. Fucking doing sets.
Pushing it. Have you ever hit it that hard before where you have kind of felt
Nearly
wheezy? And
I come real close. to spewing one time.
I've seen something that happen to someone.
My mate Garrett, his brother,
Yeah.
Johnny and I, we were at the gym one night. It was late one night too.
Yeah.
We were there for about an hour and a half, and we were all matching each other, like set for set and everything and that. You know, same weights and everything and stuff. And I was in there and I was pushing myself and it was really good because you wear yourself out, but and then you get that, you feel energized after that whole gym thing. And I was like, I'm not going to be outdone. I'm going to keep up with you. I'll come close, very close. I was like,
oh yeah,
must be.
Me too. I've had one where I actually was about to pass out, so I pushed it too hard. I was like at the end of my whole session, and I was just like going pale. I was real white. I got like the cold sweats, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, I knew I was going to black out because I was really struggling to stand upright.
You started to get tunnel vision.
Yeah, and I went out toward the open area where there's like the staff and stuff like that, and I nearly collapsed. I had to hold onto the table and I fell down a bit. Then this woman just come over and grabbed me and helped me, and I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna pass out. And she brought me into this the little shop bit, and she gave me a free, like, she just got like an energy drink out, and she's like, you need sugar, you need, like, to boost yourself up a bit. And and it helped a bit. I didn't really black out completely, but I was nearly there. Yeah, that happened once.
Fucking hell. Push it to the limit.
Yeah, too hard.
Pat, we've got fucking heaps to talk about. When was the last time you were on the show? I think it was Super Fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, when you won the TBG Undisputed Super Fight Championship.
Was that a month or two
Bobby
ago?
Baxter. Oh, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
It's probably like 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, nearly.
Yeah, something like that.
It's fucking ages ago. There's been heaps of news.
Yeah.
Cherry-picked a few things, but we're going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah, cool.
Last week, I watched Apostle on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
I sent the trailer to you guys. I put it on the chat.
I can't
probably
remember what.
3 or 4 weeks ago.
I'm trying to picture what that is, that movie.
It's got Dan Stevens in it. His sister is abducted by like this cult commune on this island, and he's got to go in there and like infiltrate and like find out where she is and rescue her and shit. It's like a horror movie. Actually, when I think about it, I wouldn't really call it a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's more of like a folktale thriller with horrific elements, maybe.
Okay. Yep.
I wouldn't call it full-blown horror. It's pretty easy to get through.
Yeah.
There was one bit, though, I was like, oh, I was squirming in my fucking seat. Anyone who's seen it knows what I'm talking about. It's about 2/3 of the way in.
All right.
I was like, oh, Jesus. Oh, no. I was going, no, Jesus. It was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. 3 out of 5 from Jags. I picked the ending very easily.
Oh, yeah.
Like another movie today, I picked the ending. Hidden, I watched with Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh, okay.
And the lady that was in Oblivion. She played Tom Cruise's wife in that. It's a horror movie where there's some virus or whatever, and they live in this bunker underground, and they're coming to get them and all this stuff. And as soon as they like started to talk about whatever, I was just like, I bet blah 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 blah, and I was right.
Oh yeah.
And it was only like 80-minute movie. It was pretty good though. Everyone's giving it like 5-star ratings and shit. That's why I went to watch it. But it's probably a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah,
it's very well done. It was written and directed by the Duffer Brothers. I think they did that, and then straight after they went and did Stranger Things
on Netflix. Was it? Did you say?
I bought the DVD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bought the DVD from JB today.
So it's called Hidden.
Yeah,
I might check it out
it's
too.
got Alexander Skarsgård. That is not bad.
Yeah,
it's worth a watch.
Yeah, cool.
It's worth a watch.
Awesome.
You know what else I watched?
Yeah, tell me.
Last week I went to the pictures and I saw Christopher Robin.
Oh, yeah.
With Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, what's it like? I was curious.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a medium. It's a medium from me.
Yep.
I'm a Tigger fan though. I'm a big Tigger fan. I like Tigger. I don't know. There was a lot about it. It was kind of like, Ewan McGregor, Christopher Robin, he's left the 100 Acre Wood, he's gone off to private school, and his dad died, and then he went off to war, and he fought in the war and shit, and he came back injured, and he's got the wife, and he's got the daughter and shit, and he works all the time, and it's like, your life is here, you're missing your life with us, playing and being he's, I've got to work. I work with luggage and shit.
Yeah.
And then they plan to go away this weekend. Like this one weekend, they're going away to the cottage he used to live at when he was a kid or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But then the boss says he has to work. You have to work all weekend, and we got to cut all this shit, and we got to cut people's jobs. And then he sort of says to his wife, he's like, I have to work over the weekend. And I was waiting for him to say to her, like, they're telling me I've got to cut all these people's jobs. There's all this burden on my shoulders. But he didn't say it to her. And I was like, if you just told her that, she would have stopped giving you a hard time. Christopher Robin. And then Winnie the Pooh turns up and hijinks.
Yeah.
And then it goes on. But yeah, it was a medium. It was alright watch.
Yeah, yeah.
The missus loved it. That's the main thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She loved it.
Yeah, good.
Winnie the Pooh. It was kind of that kind of Uncanny Valley thing as well, where Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and that, they're like a little too realistic, kind of. They're just like fluffy toys and that, but they're a little too fluffy and realistic, and you're like, it's a bit,
Yeah, there was something about it in the trailer I couldn't pick. I don't know if it was their looks that I didn't really... they look pretty good, but, and I suppose if they were real, that's probably what they would look like. But
yeah, I laughed a few times. There were a couple of good lines.
It's not how
from,
I
like
picked,
Eeyore and shit. But yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
It
nice.
was pretty good. It was alright. Mrs. loved it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, cool.
That's pretty much it for me. What have you been up to? What have you been watching? What have you been doing?
Went to Sydney for a bit.
Oh, you did too! For the thing!
Yeah, it's been a while coming. Marvel...
It's coming.
coming! But, Marvel organised it and got me involved in this... was
it like an art program, wasn't it?
Yeah, Marvel create your own. So it's like kids can create their own comics and stuff online and digital. So it's kind of like you go up there to showcase that, and but they had me involved to do my own kind of workshop. So I kind of hosted an entire workshop where I sit up there and I show people how to draw a Marvel character. From scratch, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it was really fun. Kind of nerve-wracking at the start, especially trying to organise everything, making
It was all kids, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, when I got there...
They're all, like, under 16?
Much younger than I thought when I got there, which was fine, and they were stoked. They just wanted to come and see some stuff drawn, and
yeah, cool.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun. And, it was good, and all went well, and I did 2 days. Originally, I was supposed to do 7 days, and... but yeah,
that was a bit labour intensive.
Yeah,
for your schedule.
I couldn't go for that long. Yeah, mainly for work and also
got to get paid, mate.
Just family and everything. Yeah, but it was really cool, and I've just found out I might be doing another one. I think soon in February. So
did you get any free swag?
Adult ones too, maybe.
Oh,
maybe, but yeah.
Life drawings, nudes,
yeah.
nudes. All right, we're going to do Deadpool nude Deadpool.
No,
adults only, 18 and over.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah,
and you did Spider-Man and Thanos, didn't you?
Yeah. Drew those.
They're both on your Instagram, aren't they?
Yep, that's right.
At Patrick Brown Art, if you want to check them out. At Patrick Brown Art.
Yeah. No, it was really good. Went to this video game bar. It was really cool. And they had, like GoldenEye. You can just chuck GoldenEye on where you're just having a beer. And it's
totally overrated GoldenEye.
And it was on like a box TV and everything, like from the 90s.
Love box TVs.
Yeah, everything was just, and Mortal Kombat, all the arcade games. It was pretty cool there. No, it was good, a lot of fun.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, good trip.
Well, that's about it from me. Now, Pat, we've been talking, and we're going to do a new weekly segment.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna, because, we talk about stuff in the bullshit. We call it the bullshit section at the start, where we just bullshit to each other, which is what you just listened to for the last 15 minutes. But, we don't normally get a chance to talk about, maybe everything we've watched or everything we've played or, listened to or read or whatever.
Yeah.
So this new section is just going to be a little showcase where every week, each person who's on will be able to come in and just recommend something, additional they've read or played or listened to or seen or currently watching or something like that. So this new segment's called Recommendations.
Yay.
Jingle goes here, if there was a jingle. It was going to be called Shotgun Recommendations because they'd just be real quick. Like, you know what I mean? But, yeah. What have you got to recommend this week, Patrick Brown?
Well, I thought I would recommend a YouTube channel that I really like, and I love following this guy. His name, he calls himself Captain Disillusion. So that's actually the channel name, Captain Disillusion.
Is that the guy with the painted silver face? From
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool.
So he's made himself like an iconic kind of character.
He's meant to be like an alien, isn't he? Or something like that.
I think so, or some kind of superhero kind of version of himself.
They talk about like Earth history or something like that.
And he basically, to explain what his channel is, basically he just debunks viral videos that are usually posted as, people might think they're real and legit, but he's like, he knows. He's like, no, that's fake, and he'll debunk it and rip it to pieces and be like, and he'll show you all the little pixels and be like, here, look at this, mistake here. They forgot to do the fade and there's a fault there, and you can pick that this video is actually fake. So he reveals the videos that are fake through the internet, and some that you might not even expect. He's actually done a lot of really cool stuff and made people realize that, some of these things are just not what you think.
They're bullshit.
Yeah, a lot of bullshit's out there. So, but he's really funny how he does it too. He's got like this real quirky kind of
comedic edge.
Yeah, he kind of throws in, and he's like a master at video editing as well. That's why he does this.
I guess he'd have to be if he's pulling apart videos.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like there was one here. His most recent one was someone posted a viral video of a mobile drone. So like, you can buy this little phone case, and it's got little two propellers on the top of each end of your phone, and it's like a phone case, and you just turn it on, and apparently your phone can just fly and take a selfie with hands-free, and you're like hands-free.
What a load of shit.
And it's like they got video promoting this, Kickstarter or whatever. And then he debunked the hell out of it, and all the footage that was shown of this phone floating around in a little drone case, and he ripped it to pieces.
Apart.
Yeah, and you could see where someone was actually holding it, and like their thumb, he's erased out their thumb on the corner of the phone where they're actually holding the phone up like that, and it's like you can see the little pixels moving. And he's like, that's where their thumb was. Just stuff like that. It's really cool.
And what's he called? Captain
Disillusion. Yeah.
Okay, Captain Disillusion.
Check it out. Yeah, really good channel.
Wicked.
What about you?
My recommendation is, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was earlier this year, I was talking about in these... Crack it. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, mate.
It comes to recommendations. We could recommend a beer we've tried as well.
Yeah.
I tried this new beer. Actually, I did try that. Remember that bloody feral pig beer it was I had the other week?
Oh, is that Oh, yes.
Where he said it's like drinking...
bacon.
He said it's like drinking a Guinness while you're eating a bacon sandwich.
Or beef jerky or something.
Yeah, like a bacon sandwich. And
that
was pretty good. But my recommendation this week for the first installment of recommendations... earlier this year, I don't know if you remember, I mentioned there was a Planet of the Apes comic coming out. It was called Planet of the Apes Visionaries, and it was the original script for the original Planet of the Apes, so 60s Planet of the Apes. So it was Rod Serling's, creator of the Twilight Zone and head writer on the Twilight Zone.
Yep.
It was his original script, but it was very high concept, and it was going to be way too expensive to shoot. So they just took that and they're like, instead of this, we'll do, they live in huts and villages instead. And, instead of driving cars, they ride horses and, to cut the budget and that down for this movie. So this comic, it's a full trade paperback. I think it's 180 pages, I think. It's the, it's the original script, his original script, as written, which has been adapted now into a comic. And it's really fucking good. Like, I sat there and read the whole thing back to front in one sitting.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. There's a lot of different tweaks and stuff, obviously, because the original concept of the script was, when the spaceship lands on the planet, lands in a big forest area and stuff, and then eventually, they get captured by the apes. But instead of the apes riding on horses, and there's that scene, I think it's like through the long grass or the cornfield or whatever, where they catch them with the nets. Instead, it's like a helicopter. There are these apes coming flying a helicopter, and they got jeeps and shit, and they fucking shoot you and catch you and stuff. And then later on, you find out that, the apes don't live in a village. They live in like a big New York-style metropolis, apes getting around, driving cars. They're wearing business suits and carrying briefcases.
Yeah, cool.
And, they have TV shows and stuff and late-night talk shows and all this sort of stuff. But it's been a really long time since I've seen the original Planet of the Apes. My dad bought the original 5 Apes movies on VHS, and I remember watching the first one with him when I was a lot younger. I was probably only 12 or 13, something like that. So I do remember a lot of it, but I don't, it's been that long since I've watched it. It's probably been 20 years since I've watched it.
Yeah.
But, a lot of the concepts in this book, they're a lot edgier and stuff. Like, the apes seem like a lot more colder, and like the parallels between like humans and apes are like very similar, the apes trying to cover shit up and that, and they're real cold, and they're just like executing humans and shit like that to keep secrets and all this sort of thing. So it's actually quite dark.
Yeah.
And still has a twist ending. But it was fucking fantastic. Like, I totally loved the shit out of it. Like, it was fantastic. Like, if you're a fan of like the original Planet of the Apes and that, with like Charlton Heston and everything, and Dr. Zaius and Cornelius and everything like that, definitely pick it up and check it out, because it's a really good book. Like, it's a really good read, and it makes a good companion piece if you're a fan of the original film.
Yeah, cool.
So that's my recommendation for this week. Planet of the Apes Visionaries.
No, good one. I love Planet of the Apes.
Check it out online.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I don't think you'd like the old ones, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you'd like the old ones. I think you'd be quite bored, to be honest. Let's do the news.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
Now, there's been a lot of news, mate. I've just cherry-picked a few things. Mainly Henry Cavill, The Witcher.
Oh, tell me.
Because we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
Before, where there was like, hey, we did the thing, and we talked about Henry Cavill was doing the interview with IGN, and they said, what's the last game you finished playing? Oh, I just finished playing The Witcher. Oh, they're doing a Witcher Netflix series. Hey, would you be interested in playing Geralt? And he's like, yeah, there'd be something I'd be interested in. Yeah, definitely. Well, it turns out he was fucking already hired for the job, because he met bloody Lauren S. Hissrich a couple of months earlier, and yeah, he got the job like a month later.
Oh, so when he talked about that interview, he was already hired.
Pretty much already had it.
Yeah, nice.
He pretty much already had it. He was good bloody poker face, that guy. So, Henry Cavill, Geralt of Rivia. For definite.
I love that casting, though. I love that choice. I think it'd be great.
Last week, we had some casting for Yennefer and Ciri as well. I'm not aware of these two young ladies. I think I've seen this Freya Allen who's been cast as Ciri. I haven't had a chance to look her up.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I've seen her face somewhere before. But, Anya Charlotta, I think that's pronounced. She's going to be playing Yennefer, and Freya Allen is going to be playing Ciri.
Yeah, cool.
Now, they're both quite young, so I imagine maybe they're thinking in the long term and that as well. So
my guess is it's starting quite early, hey?
Yeah, so maybe it's starting earlier in the kind of Witcher timeline, maybe, or they're just like, if this show's popular and it takes off, maybe we'll want them to just age into it a little bit more.
Which also makes sense with Geralt, with Henry Cavill, because he's not really old looking and gritty looking, like he's worn, like he's 300 odd years old. Yeah,
he doesn't look old, like he's in the books and that he's not described
as
as old.
the series goes. I mean, he's got he could put a lot of length into it, and go for ages. Yeah. So and he won't really get too old.
I started listening to one of the Witcher audiobooks. It was, I think it's called Last Wish. It's like I think it's a collection of short stories.
Yeah.
Don't quote me. I'm sorry, Witcher fans out there, if you've read it and I'm incorrect. But I don't know if it's the first book or it's just a short story collection. I'm not sure. But I listened to like the first story, and it's literally, you can see where like CD Projekt Red and that got like a lot of inspiration that from. Because we have only ever played The Witcher 3. You played a bit of The Witcher 2.
Yeah.
And you can see they got their influence because you listen to it. Well, I was listening to it, the audiobook, and it's literally just like a mission or like a side quest or something like that.
Yeah.
Geralt's got to, find this monster and that was a princess or whatever, and he's going to try and turn her back and stuff and that. And like he gets hired and all this shit, and they find him in a tavern. But Geralt in the book, like the guy who does the reading and stuff, he plays Geralt with like, because apparently the Geralt was knighted, or whatever, and he's Geralt of Rivia, but he's not actually from Rivia, but it describes that he's he's learned to mimic the Rivian accent.
Yep.
And he just uses it when he gets about. So, but in the book, like when Geralt speaks, he has like Scottish inflections, but it's like you imagine what a Scottish person sounds like with their accent and stuff. Well, this is kind of like the most watered down Scottish.
Yeah.
Like there's a bit of Scottish twang in there. So you kind of listen to Geralt talk, and he's got that bit of that Scottish edge, and I'm like, that's a bit different.
I was just picturing him with a real thick one, a thick accent. That's like,
it's like, ach, I'll kill them drowners for you. Ye, ach, Argus. Yeah, it was pretty good. Like I was really enjoying listening to it. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. But yeah, the Witcher, it's definitely coming out next year.
Oh, sweet. I really hope that Henry Cavill puts on like a bit of a voice. You know how in the game he's got a bit more of a husk, or like he's got that kind of weird voice. Kind of hope he doesn't just do his normal voice. Like
I imagine it'd be like
the
whole actor thing where they're like, I didn't really find, it'd probably be the kind of thing where he's like, I'll put on like a bit of gruffness, and that like he's been around, he's 300 years old, he's seen everything, he's a bit gruff, he's a bit harder edged, and it'll be the kind of thing where, where actors, they're like, when I got into costume, then I felt like the character, and when I put the voice on, it just nailed it or whatever. So I imagine he'll probably just play his normal voice, but just make it a bit more gruff, maybe a little bit more gravelly.
I can't wait. It's going to be...
dial it back a bit, because witches are meant to be emotionless and stuff, but obviously...
It's going to be a good year next year.
Yeah, some good stuff coming out next year.
Game of Thrones, all of it.
Oh, yeah, Game of Thrones. Fuck, I forgot all about it.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. I'm excited.
We've got Far From Home coming. Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the second Avengers... Oh, the next Avengers movie. The second Avengers? The sequel to this one.
And you saw Mysterio, the link I showed you with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home. Jake Gyllenhaal's playing Mysterio.
Yeah, his suit looks really cool. I love it. And did you see the new suit? The black and red suit?
I did. I sent it to you.
You did? Yeah, you did. Oh, there you go.
I was like, what do you think of this new suit?
That's right. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's awesome. It looks really good.
It is really good. The whole James Gunn fiasco, somebody dragging up comments that he made on Twitter, 10 years ago when he was a different guy, he was trying to be, more shocking and stuff, but obviously people changing that. Marvel found out about it. He was fired because there were jokes about pedophilia and shit like that. Obviously not okay. But, Marvel, he was fired from Marvel, Disney. And he's been quiet for a couple of months anyway. What was it, last week, the week before? We found out that DC snagged him to write and possibly direct Suicide Squad 2. That's fucking good for him.
Yeah.
I think that's great, to be honest.
Straight to DC, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I imagine it'd be the kind of thing where people talk about the first Suicide Squad, and they're like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy was popular, so they tried to make it Guardians of the Galaxy-ish, with all the songs and all the pop songs and Queen and everything like that, and all the bright fluorescent colours and everything. I imagine people saying that. I think Gunn would probably actively try to make it different, to try to not make it like a Guardians of the Galaxy thing. He'll try to make it something... I imagine that's what people expect him to do, but I guarantee he's going to go the other way. He's going to do something different with it.
Do you think Leto will be back as the Joker again?
Probably. Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. Maybe they'll just keep him away from it. Or they'll just do what they should have done with the first one and just make him the villain.
Maybe change him a little bit to not be so, what he was in the first. I don't know.
Odd.
Yeah, just
very odd.
Move a couple of tattoos or something.
I don't mind the idea of a gangster Joker, because there have been iterations of that in the comic, but it was just...
The only thing I liked
there were a couple of things there that were a little bit too far.
Yeah. The only thing I liked about his Joker that I initially first really kind of actually loved was that I thought he was a lot like Scarface. In the way of... there was only a few scenes where he has a Scarface kind of feel about it. Like when he's in the room and he lies down with all the guns circled around him and stuff. And he's
kind of got like that mob boss kind of feel.
And he's just like got it all, and he's just like... and I really liked that side of it, but then a lot of him, and I don't know, it took a while to kind of I think I tried to like him for a long time. You know, you just kind of you let it grow on you a bit more, and then it just it reverted back again. And I was like, nah, I really don't like. Not a fan, but yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there he did that I did like. Some of it was very interesting, but a lot of it was just a bit too much, a step too far.
And I actually think that Leto, I think it's all with the look of that Joker. I actually think if he got given one that, say, looked a lot more like the Arkham game series Joker with the hair, and he's real skinny and gaunt, he would have pulled that off so much with a better look. You know what I mean? Like, if he had the look of those games, that Joker, he would nail it, because he's got that kind of body type, and he's got a good head of hair, and you know that kind of.
Maybe.
Yeah, I reckon if it was done right with makeup and everything, it would have looked really cool.
Maybe. After seeing, like, Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler, where he played Lou Bloom.
Oh, yeah.
And he really thinned down. Yeah. Like, I like the idea of...
He can do a real cool smile.
Gyllenhaal playing the Joker. Like, he could have done it. But I do like what I'm seeing of Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. Like, he's thinned off and stuff, and I like the costume design, and the face paint and stuff. Like,
creepy looking.
When it first came out, like the face paint and that, everyone was like, "Oh, it's just like it's an ode to the Cesar Romero clown mask from the Adam West TV series, and it's the clown mask from the beginning of like The Dark Knight and stuff, which was an ode to that." I'm like, no, it's not. It's like an ode to, like, it's in line with John Wayne Gacy, the real life serial killer who played a clown who had very similar makeup, which was like 95%. So it kind of gives you that edge of like a real life dangerous serial killer.
Look good. I can't wait for that. I reckon that'll be a good one.
Yeah, it looks great. I am.
We'll have to mandate that one.
Will we?
Oh, we will.
I'm excited. Are you going to bring your comfy chair?
Yeah, we should do.
If it was at the drive-in, we would. Last thing, Iron Fist was cancelled.
Yeah.
You didn't even watch Iron Fist, did you?
No.
First season was rubbish.
Oh, yeah.
It was really hard for me to get through. I actually binge-watched it from start to finish.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult to get through. Lots of sitting around in boardrooms.
I've heard about that, yeah.
Danny Rand, who's meant to be the immortal Iron Fist, he's like, my chi powers my Iron Fist. And then someone drugs him and he's like, I can't focus my chi. I can't use the Iron Fist. And I'm like, well, that's not what I signed up for. I signed up for Iron Fisting. And that's what I signed up for.
The funny thing is, because Iron Fist and the character, you know, when you hear about that and you're expecting a TV show, first thing you think about would be it's going to be like a full-on action martial arts show.
Yeah, it should have been a balls-to-the-wall kung fu show.
Like, even more than Daredevil was. Like, way more, like, kind of cool fighting scenes and all that done really well. And, yeah, it's just amazing that they didn't do that.
Now, to give the show some credit, I watched all of Season 2.
Yeah.
I actually liked Season 2. The first few episodes were getting into it. You know, they cut it down to 10 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
So the first 3 or 4 episodes were okay. But then as it got into kind of the middle and the back end, which was great, and the guy... Oh, fuck, I've already forgotten his name. The guy who played the main villain, who was at bloody Kunlun with Danny Rand, I forget his fucking name already. He fucking carried the bulk of that show. Like, he was a great villain, and he's like real conflicted and stuff, and his story was very interesting. And like a lot of the fights in that were a lot better. Yeah. The way they got around Finn Jones not being able to do any of the fight and stuff, like Iron Fist wore like a mask. He wore like a mask from like the nose down. So, like, they could just get some proper kung fu dude to come in there and actually do all the fight scenes and stuff and not have to worry about Finn Jones and stuff.
Weird question, but did Iron Fist ever have the classic kind of get-up, you know, with the yellow bandana thing?
There was a flashback where at Kunlun, when they did the trial, the fight to become, to face Shalao, was it? The dragon or whatever? They wore the masks. They wore the masks during that.
And that's it. So
and then you see another dead Iron Fist. They show the body and he's wearing a mask and that as well. He's wearing the same mask. But
why do they always avoid that? They get too scared to go with the actual suit, you know, get him with his get-up. Because it's probably one of the comic outfits I'd say would transition really well in a live action. Like,
I think it's a hard get up to do. Like, even they kind of did as close as they could. He literally just wears like a green hoodie, which is like zipped way down. He's kind of just got like the V kind of showing off his chest and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like the end of that show. I really like the ending. I was really excited to see where it goes in season 3 because they fucking did massive changes and that. And I'm like, this is good. I'm actually excited to see season 3, and then now they've cancelled it. But Iron Fist will live on in the other shows. He'll still be in the other shows. He'll turn up and whatever, which is probably fine. Because I watched Luke Cage season 2, and he turned up in an episode of that.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this is cool. Him and Luke Cage hanging out. Yours for hire, you know?
Yeah. I watched. I started watching Defenders, like you said. I was talking to you about the other day.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm about 3 episodes
to prepare for season 3 of Daredevil.
Daredevil, yeah.
Yeah. Which starts this Friday. I'm excited.
It's not too bad. There was one really. I think it was episode 2, like the very start of episode 2 of Defenders, and Daredevil has that. He's on the rooftops and he's just listening out, and then he does that. You know, he's doing his Daredevil stuff, goes down, beats. He
does like the bird twitching, like the blind twitching.
Oh yeah.
He twitches around. He's like a bird listening.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. That scene, that whole scene, I loved it. Just like I just love those kind of setups.
It's not a bad watch. Like it's good. It's not outstanding, but it's worth a watch, and you definitely need to watch it to get ready for season 3. Because if you don't, and you kind of just went into season 3, you'd probably get a bit lost. Be like, okay, I don't remember what happened in season 2 because it happened in the Defenders. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I've watched them all. I've just got to watch season 2 of Jessica Jones, and I'll get around to that. I'll probably watch Daredevil, and then I'll move on to Jessica Jones and watch that. Because the first season of that was probably the best.
I can't get into Jessica Jones.
I
really don't like her
first
character.
season I actually liked better than season 1 of Daredevil.
I couldn't even get through the first season. I even in the Defenders watching her, I'm just like, I really hate that character now. I don't know why. It's just something about her. I know
she's just a bit. She's a bit too gruff.
I know she's supposed to be like unlikable in a way, like her character is.
She pushes people away.
She comes across to the viewer as like me as unlikable too. Like I can't like her. I find it really hard to like her character.
Yeah.
I just find it really hard.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair call. But when I finished season 1 of Jessica Jones, I was like, I like that better than season 1 of Daredevil, and I fucking love season 1 of Daredevil. That was better. It was just the villain was more interesting. Not saying that Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin was terrible, because he wasn't. He was fucking great.
Yeah.
But Kilgrave was just that bit more interesting, and the dynamic he had with Jessica, and you know the things that had happened to them, and you know there's some great lines of dialogue and shit and that in there between the two of them, and it was just a lot more engaging and kind of pulled you in. It was a bit heavier in that as well.
Yep.
But I really liked it.
Yeah, cool.
I did actually go to JB Hi-Fi the other day because they had a 2 for $30 TV sale.
All right.
And I got bloody season 1 and 2 of Daredevil for $30 on Blu-ray. So I was like, fuck yeah, Punisher.
Cool.
Love it.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, Patrick Brown. Let's talk about what we're actually here to talk about. It's finally time. It's been like 6 weeks.
I've been hanging out for this.
Patrick Brown. We played Spider-Man on PS4.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to give you the floor, Patrick Brown.
You're going to give me the floor.
Start us off.
Oh.
Spider-Man PS4. What do you think? What are your first impressions?
What a game! That is
what a game!
What a game! It's actually it's everything I've hoped for. You know, I've always kind of been longing for a really good Spider-Man game. You know, it's being a gamer myself. It's one of those things where it's like a game that just has to be done. You need. You know, they've been done before, but just not well. And apart from like back in the day, they were good. Yeah, Spider-Man 2.
Come on, mate. Spider-Man on PS1. Come on. Spider-Man on PS1.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
That was great.
But it's good to finally have a game like this now, in this day and age, and you just, the graphics, everything, like you want a New York City that looks and feels like and breathes, and it's just like really nice to look at. And even the city, you walk around, you just go on the street, it actually doesn't just feel like generic. I mean, you know, that you can talk to people. It feels kind of more alive. It's not like the other
does.
games.
It does have that feeling. You can walk down the streets and there are a lot of people around, and they kind of interact with you. You know, it's Spider-Man, and they pull out their phones and like, can I get a picture and stuff?
Yeah, really good. And just even the swinging, all that stuff is just. I love it. Like after a lot of practice with it, you know, and getting it down pat, you really do feel like you can just be a pro and just you bounce off rooftops. And you
just pick it up. You can just pick it up and
going,
just go. You can be Spider-Man.
going.
Yeah,
I know. It's so good. What about you? What do you think?
Well, I've broken my Spider-Man notes down to pros and cons. So what I did like and what I didn't like.
Yeah, cool.
Now I'm going to start with what I liked in the first thing I've written. So my first pro that I wrote down was the story.
Yep.
I really liked the story.
Me
I
too.
liked it that they weren't scared to change kind of the history, kind of the lore, shake it up a bit. Because I really appreciate it. Because I've read the books, I've seen the movies, I've seen the animated series. They're all relatively the same. You're experiencing the same story through different mediums, pretty much.
Yeah.
But this one kind of changed it up a bit. So instead of Peter working at the Daily Bugle, he's out of the Daily Bugle now, and now he's a lab assistant.
Yeah.
I really, really liked Mary Jane in this game. I liked how they changed her. She was probably my favorite change. She's not a supermodel or an actress or anything like that now. Now she's a journalist.
She's way more interesting.
Yeah, she's a lot more interesting and stuff. I really enjoyed that part of the game. Her character.
Yeah.
Different bits about playing as her. We'll talk about that in a bit, but that's a different story. But I really liked it. I liked how it changed it up. It wasn't scared. Like Miles Morales was there in the story. There was no different bloody universe continuities or whatever. He just happened to be there in that as well.
Yeah.
Another thing I really liked was I'm grateful that there's a Spider-Man game now that utilized performance capture and facial capture.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a lot easier to be engaged and pulled into these characters because it's a real character, emoting and stuff, in heavier scenes and that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a secret, but Peter, well, if you haven't played it by now, the 5 people that haven't played it, including Bob, just switch out now. Peter's a lab assistant to Otto Octavius in the game. You're just nodding.
Yeah.
Which was another one of my favourite parts. Obviously, you can probably see where that's going to go. There was a story element there that I really liked. There are a lot of mini games in that you can play around the lab. You can do little puzzle games and stuff.
I like them to mix it up a bit.
Yeah, because Otto works like a replacement, prosthetic arms. They're making robot arms, prosthetic arms for war veterans and stuff who lost limbs and that. They're playing with that at the start of the game, but then it gradually changes into why does it have to be an arm? Why can't it be this? Why can't it change? Let's make it extend. And I'm like, that's starting to look a bit like a tentacle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so it gradually goes to the end of the game. He becomes Dr. Octopus. It's no big secret. But I like that dynamic. There was a part there, where you play the mini games and you're doing on the targeting array and the bloody something and the other something. And I felt when I was solving those, I was helping to create Dr. Octopus. So I really liked how Peter was intertwined with Dr. Octopus's story. So he, in part, is, he is just as much responsible as creating Doc Ock as, Norman Osborn or Otto Octavius.
Because apparently, as going through it, Doc even says himself, it's things he was working on that he couldn't quite crack yet, but Peter is really pretty bright and he had a different insight.
Yeah, that's how a lot of those parts start. Oh man, I can't. Oh, I'll come back to this. Peter, can you take a look at this while I go and have a sandwich?
Yeah.
And then you look at it and Peter's like, oh, he's overloaded the bloody targeting array or whatever. Let me see. Oh, okay, Bob. I fixed it. I've
bloody idiot, you set this up wrong.
Idiot. What are you doing? I should be the bloody pro scientist and you should be the assistant. But no, it's cool. I liked how that, and I liked how...
That's great.
I guess we're going full spoilers, fuck it.
Nice, well, yep, let's do it.
You always get excited when you go full spoilers. I like no restrictions. I just want to talk about everything. Ooh. Yeah, I like how Otto starts. He's very ambitious and he's very hopeful. He's like, we're going to change the world, people, and we're going to do it. We're going to change the world. And then by the end, he's just like a real asshole. He's gone down the dark path, And
that was that more because of the chip was taken over. He's kind of
they did a Spider-Man 2 where it's kind of like the
Change
arms and that have their own AI to help. And Peter's just looking at it and he's like, look, if you plug this into your head, it's going to fuck with your logic and your ambitions and all that kind of thing, your anger center or whatever it was. And
which I loved.
It's going to change you. You're not going to be you. You're not going to be in control of yourself, essentially. And he's like, fuck it, I've got to do it. And he plugs himself in, and there's that really tense scene where he first plugs himself in, and he's a bit edgy. And then Peter eventually talks him down, and he comes out of it. And you're like, whew, that was great.
Yeah. I love how they just took their time with the two characters, and it almost took the entire game until he actually turned into Doc Ock, and I really appreciated that because they did such a good job of just building Doc Ock as a character, and now when you've got him for future games, like it's just you've gone through this whole storyline with Doc Ock, and now it just means so much more to you, and that character is just gold now. Like the
sound effects in that for the tentacles were awesome.
And they look great too.
Yeah, they were fucking great. Yeah,
they look really good.
I loved how you kept coming back to the lab, and like as you progress through the game,
and
the whiteboards would be different.
Everything's different.
The hand would be normal, the arm would be normal, and then the next would be like the fingers turn into like little pincers and shit for grabbing stuff. And then the next time you come back, he's like, don't worry, why does it have to be an arm? Let's make it like an extending thing, and then like, let's just make it a big tentacle, and it just gradually
it was the best how they did that. It just didn't seem so like blank, like a lazy thing. They actually took the time to gradually change the scene every time. It was awesome.
What else did you like about the game? Because I really liked the traversal, obviously, so like the web swinging and the parkour. It took a little bit for me to get a handle on it, because in the beginning I didn't like it. I'm like, this is shit. This is shit. But then I just stopped and I said to myself, I'm like, Brent, you've been playing it for 4 hours. Like, give it a go. And I was like, yeah, you're right, Brent. I'll do that. So, yeah, I give it a bit of a go, and I got through the game. I felt really good, and then after the game, I played a little bit more, and I got even better afterwards. I'm like, why was I doing that the whole time? If I just did this would have been easier. I would have got around quicker and stuff. But I really enjoyed, this is definitely the best web swinging and stuff, because it's not just swinging around. You know, you can swing around the entire city. It's the wall running, and what happens when you're running sideways along a wall and you're going to come to the corner of the building. Well, he webs the building and he flicks himself around the corner, and you can keep running along the wall, or you can just swing or like around the corner. Or what happens if you leap over to a building, you know, onto a rooftop? Well, you've got, you know, a second there to hit the button again, and you can launch off. You can do like a big leaping launch off and launch forward, keep your momentum up.
Once I learnt that, and I learnt, like, you know, I had my whole set of web swinging down pat, and I was like, okay, I now know how to get around the city pretty quick with just swinging normally. But then you were talking to me about, you know, you should try practicing, like, you know, doing the rooftop jumping, you know, pouncing off the rooftops and stuff a bit more. And I started to really practice that, and as soon as I did all that, just made the web swinging, everything so much more fun as well to get around, and you can get around a lot quicker as well. And I wasn't quite sure how to do that at first, but I just bit of practice, and it was great. Just quickly web zipping to a corner of a building, launching straight off it again, and the flow is just perfect.
Like when you run up the wall and that as well. Like when you get to the top, if you hit the button right, you'll web it and you'll flip up over, and then you can do a big launch off. And
it feels super as well, as in like because he's like uses his super jump. You're pushing out pretty far, and it's like it feels good too when that boost hits you.
And if you time it right, you get that big when you take off. And
it feels awesome. And one thing I really hoped for this game, there was a few mechanics that I was just kind of hoping that they'd add in, and they did, was the charging jump. I really want to be able to, at the start I was like, oh man, I can't jump very high. Like you press X and he just does like a jump, almost like a normal person would.
Like you'll jump like 8 feet in the air.
A few feet or so,
But in game mechanics, it just looks like a hop.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh man. But then later, you unlock it as a perk, and you can do your charge jump. You can hold X in or whatever, and R2, and then you can do
the big leap straight up in the air,
and he goes straight up, almost as tall as a building, and you can like really. And then you just start swinging, and that was just amazing. What else was there?
I found they were the first perks I really unlocked. I focused on were all the traversal perks. So the jumping, swinging faster, you know, all the other things you can unlock to get around the city quicker. Because I'm like, I'm going to be doing this, and there's going to be some kind of timed mission or something where I've got to get somewhere in a hurry. And I got to do that. And
hanging upside down was another one that I really wanted to do, was to be able to just get your web, stick it to a ceiling, and then
do the iconic just hanging upside down.
Just drop down and slide down. Yeah, I really wanted that to be in the game. And they didn't really explain how to do that. I think there's one mission where you can kind of do it, but yeah, that was a nice feature they've added in too. So, really good.
I was quite happy with all the traversal on that as well.
Yeah, me too. I love how you can just hold in was it triangle and circle, and you can do whatever acrobatics you want to, like flip around and spin around,
and you can earn a bit of extra XP as well.
Yeah, that was one of the features I was more excited about as well. I was like, oh, you can do your own aerodynamics,
flips and backflips and forward rolls and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah, I liked all that.
How good is photo mode?
Oh man. That's the one thing that keeps me coming back.
Yeah, me too.
I finished the game. I platinumed it.
Yeah.
I finished the entire game, platinumed it in 5 days. I could have done it sooner, but I was like, no, I'll just pace myself a bit.
You smashed it, didn't you?
Yeah, I smashed it, but it's not a hard platinum to get. Like, I was very proud of myself. Like, it wasn't hard. This is going to be one of my cons, but like, a lot of the side missions, there's a lot of it, but a lot of it just feels like busy work. Especially like the research stations.
Oh yeah,
like the mini missions where you got to go around Harry's research stations. They took fucking forever to do.
Yeah,
I thought I did them all. I was like, yeah, I've done it. I'm gonna unlock the achievement or the trophy, and then nothing happened. And I was like, oh fuck. And I looked on the map, and there was like still 2 down the bottom I'd missed. I was like, god damn it, I got 2 more to do.
One thing I liked about them is they weren't all repetitive and the same.
Yeah,
they were kind of all whole different kind of mission to do.
Yeah, they're all pretty different, which was good.
Quite different.
But yeah, a lot of that side stuff did feel like busy work. A lot of it felt like a bit of filler. But it's okay. Like we talked about this before, I'm a guy who I want to do all the side stuff. Like I'll stop playing the main game for an afternoon just so I can run around and do side missions for 4 or 5 hours. You know? Yeah, that was one of my cons. I'll give you another con, because we just talked about the good shit. Weak boss fights. I thought this game had pretty weak boss fights. They were just, you know, learn a pattern, wait for your turn to dodge, attack, wait for the pattern to repeat, dodge. Quick, now's your opening, attack.
Yeah, you're right, because usually through the entire story, you don't usually die really much at all in boss fights or any kind of story missions.
No.
So doesn't get too challenging.
There were a few exceptions to the rule, but one that I really mean is like, the first time you fight Scorpion in the bank, I think it is. Yeah. And where you fight Mr. Negative on the subway train. And you got to make your way forward and dodge. Yeah. And then he's going to shoot up the right-hand side now. Right, dodge. Yeah. Now he's going to shoot up the middle. Dodge. Yeah. And then as you beat him and he goes into the next car, it gradually gets faster and you got to dodge quicker.
It was very traditional kind of arcade kind of game.
But I feel like, because we talked about this before, ages ago, when Bobby and I were talking about Spider-Man, you were like, no, it's going to be great, and we were picking it apart. It's just the kind of thing where it's hard to do differently in that kind of game, because if you want to play as Spider-Man, it's very hard to feel like Spider-Man, you know, with all these controls, you know, without doing like quick time stuff and that. So you hit a button and it does all this fluid animation stuff, and then, you know, or you dodge out of the way and you get like a fluid, because Spider-Man's a very hippy hoppy bouncy character. He gets around. He's not like a Batman where you can you actually get in there and you got to throw the fists and use the gadgets and block and dodge and all that sort of stuff. Spider-Man's not like that, so it's a bit hard to do those different boss fights, because essentially he just webs and punches. So there is 2 main things. So there is gadgets, you know, his fists and his webs, and it's a bit hard to do different things. So yeah, the boss fights did feel a bit weak. They weren't all bad. Like, there was some that I liked, but
I found Kingpin was probably the hardest one out of all.
I did have trouble with that at the beginning too. I died probably 5 or 6 times.
Me too. Probably about 5, 6, up to 10 times, probably even. And I just found that challenging. I was like, whoa, I'm in for a bloody ride on this.
Yeah, it was just like learning the pattern.
Yeah,
you know, because I guess it's right at the start of the game, and that as well. You don't know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah,
yeah. What other cons have I got? Let's see. Stealth sections.
Oh, yeah?
You play as Mary Jane, and you play as Miles Morales.
Oh, those ones, yeah.
And you got to do, like, stealth sections, which is fine. But a lot of it felt like padding. So, like,
Yeah.
we got to break up being Spider-Man and now do a stealth mission as Mary Jane. You're like, oh, I don't want to stealth. I want to bounce around and web and punch and...
Especially when you're at the end of your night, or like for me, I'm like, oh, just one more mission before bed, and
I'll get through the story a bit more before I go to bed.
I'm hoping for one more cool, fun one. Let's do something really cool,
now I'm going to play as Mary Jane.
And then it's like, it's Mary Jane one.
I got to sneak through this office as Mary Jane.
Thankfully, they're not usually that long, like these stealth missions.
Yeah, they were pretty short. I think maybe they were aware of that as well.
But they're all too similar. I felt that you should have kept maybe just the stealth ones for Mary Jane. Maybe with Miles, do something different rather than more stealth, because he was just more stealth.
There was one, but now that I think of it, you bring up Miles, there was two I actually liked. The best stealth section in that was when you were Mary Jane in the train station. And you got to sneak around and everybody's hostages and stuff.
Central, yeah.
And you can look up and you can see Peter, Spidey crawling along the roof, and then you mark you got to wait for the guys so they're not being seen.
I was going to mention
that guy, and then he webs them up, and you look up on the roof and he's webbed them upside down.
And he's dealing with him.
Yeah, he's following you along the roof, and
it felt so cool, didn't it?
Yeah, it felt. That was great. I loved that.
That's probably one of the better ones, yeah.
And the Miles scene where the Rhino's trying to find you. And you're going through like the shipping yard, the shipping containers, and that was pretty cool. I got spotted a couple of times, and Rhino murdered me.
Yeah.
There you are, and then he and you are dead. It doesn't actually say that though. It's a Marvel game. Nobody dies. But the side missions felt like, the stealth missions, I should say. A lot of it felt like padding, and like, how do we let's break, beef up that game length a bit. Let's throw in another 10-minute stealth section.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
One thing I would that I felt was missing from this game, which is probably fine. I reckon they'll probably add it into a future game. It kind of adds, be something new for them to add in later. Was to be Peter Parker, but at your own free will, like in a free mode kind of setting. So you go back, and I really wanted to be able to go into your own apartment. So Peter's like, dinky apartment, go in there, you can like look at your suits or change them or just chill out, have a nap or whatever. You got your computer there, but then I would have loved to have the choice to, like almost a Grand Theft Auto style, where you can kind of just take your suit off, be Peter Parker, walk out the front door, and maybe go to work or whatever, go to Daily Bugle. He doesn't really do that, but and just be a person, and do something like that for a little bit, which I know probably doesn't make sense, but I would have loved to have that choice as well.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I understand what you're saying totally. I was gonna go back to photo mode, but we'll talk about this first. This is another con for me.
Yeah,
and I felt like I think the problem was I was talking to Matt about it. Matt Dobson. I was talking to Matt Dobson about it. We were talking about Spider-Man, and I said to him that I think God of War spoiled me, because this game just had like constant loading. Like there was loading all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like you're gonna go to a mission. Like I've got to get back to Feast, and then you go in the door, and you got to wait for it to load, and then you Peter, and then you Peter for 2 minutes, and then you leave, and then it's got to load again, and then you Spider-Man back out in the world. I'm like, fucking hell. But yeah, I think God of War spoiled me, because that's just one big open world. You haven't got any extra doors and that. Everything's preloaded already, so they can do single take. No loading screens or anything like that, but with Peter, you're going in and out of buildings and that all the time, so they're going to have to obviously load up those sections, those interiors and that or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just felt like there was a lot of that. There was a lot of loading all the time. Like, go here, now I've got to go in the door. I know I have to wait for a loading screen. Or whatever. Yeah, I think, God of War just spoiled me a bit.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would normally bug me as much, but...
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, there was lots of loading. Yeah, because there was literally one scene where I better go see Aunt May at Feast, and then I web swang all the way over there, and I went in the door, and I waited for it to load about, however long, 30, 40 seconds or whatever, and then I went in, and there was literally like a 90-second, 2-minute scene, and then I left. And then it loaded again, and then I was back out in the world of Spider-Man. I was like, okay. Off, away I go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was another thing that kind of bugged me. Not that it was too bad, but yeah, it was just another one of those little peeves I had.
One thing I really loved about this game...
Tell me!
Was probably... I actually really appreciated... I really loved the QuickTime kind of... Is that what you call them? Like, the cinematic... versions. I kind of wish there was more of it too, because it's I think like you were saying before, the kind of Spider-Man's, the kind of character, and you kind of need those things because I really liked it. It made it feel more like I'm watching like a movie at the cinema, and I've got that experience, and you do all these extra things that maybe I couldn't do in game, and it's like.
But then you're not really doing it though. You're just hitting a button when you're prompted.
Yeah, but I love that stuff. Like same with God of War, it has all those in there in the whole game, and I love those kind of things because it just feels way more cinematic. Feels like I'm in a movie and I'm part of it. I'm doing it all. Like there's that when the crane's falling and you got to web it on the wall and all that stuff, and that whole mission,
I kind of just
all that stuff.
I kind of smashed through that scene. I didn't enjoy that at all.
Because
I've already seen it on that trailer 3 times. So that was like one of the coolest sections in the game. But I knew exactly what to do because I'd already watched the trailer 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. No, I love those kind of things. I liked them with and even with when you meet all the villains in the prison at the top and everything, and all the cinematics and stuff. Yeah, I love all that kind of stuff.
Let's go back to the photo mode because, I finished the game 100%. Like I said, at the end of the game, even when you finished all the crimes and that, it loads all the crimes back up, so there's still random crimes and that, so you can jump into. Photo mode's great, and obviously as well on top of that, costumes. Because you can unlock lots of different Spider-Man costumes. There are 29, I think, different costumes. It might even be 31 or something like that. There's a secret costume that you unlock.
I'm trying to get that secret one still.
Oh, haven't you got it yet?
I've got 2 to get.
It's easy, man.
2 pictures to get.
Just put the TV on mute, put something on in the background, and then just swing around. Just keep your eye on your mini-map.
Yeah,
it's easy. That's what I did.
Yeah.
But, like, changing costumes and that, because all these costumes look fucking great. And you can after you've finished the game, and I think the research stations and that as well, you can change the day cycle to, like, day, sunset and night. And then you've got the photo mode and that, and it's like real dynamic. You can do selfies and stuff, and you've got different borders and graphics and that you can put over the top. And dead set, man. Like, the best costumes in the game, aside from like the classic costume you start the game with. Scarlet Spider costume, which is fucking great.
Yeah,
and
good.
The Spider-Man Homecoming outfit, that's fantastic.
I love it.
Is. Yeah. Looking forward to new costumes. They just announced the 3 new costumes in the first DLC pack, which comes out probably around about the time you will be listening to this. Scarlet Spider 2. The Kane Scarlet Spider 2 costume, the red and black one, which is fucking sick.
Yeah, that looks good.
Channeling a bit of Russell Redmond there.
I was trying to think about more what I've really barely got any faults about this game at all. I'm just trying to think if there is anything worth talking about. I think the only thing would be
we had a chat about the character models, didn't we? We talked about Peter's and Norman's character models.
Yeah, there's something about the faces. Like,
it threw me off at the beginning. I didn't really like those character models at all.
No, me too.
It kind of took, especially Norman, it kind of took me out of the game. But then as I gradually played and I got more into the story, I kind of got over it. And I'm pretty much over it now. But Peter was a bit odd looking, and Norman was even more so.
Yeah.
Like Norman Osborn. I was like, some of these character models, they're very interesting choices.
I know what you mean. It's a strange thing. I don't know if it's one of those things where you see because the graphics are going a lot too close to realism, where they just kind of look freaky weird, or
it's
if
kind of
one of those.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little uncanny valley thing as well.
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
It's hard to kind of put my finger on what the actual issue I have with it is. I guess because that Norman Osborn just doesn't look like any Norman Osborn.
No.
I know. It kind of looks more like Robert Redford than anything. And
he doesn't really look like any guy. She doesn't really look like any person I can think of.
Yeah, it's kind of like an amalgam of like 3 different people, and it's really weird to put your finger on what it is.
Yeah. Do you think it's more like a wax figure, when you see them and they're like kind of real but not, and then it's just like they look weird.
Maybe a little.
It's kind of like that kind of thing.
Like Nicolas Cage in real life. Like you see him and he looks a bit waxy. And you're like, jeez, Nick.
But no, I was just thinking about one of the only faults I could probably say is now that the game's done and there's not much left to do but random crimes, I kind of wish everything's starting to get still a bit too repetitive. feels like there's only like 4 or 5 different crimes that you can do or whatever. I wish that they had just a little bit more variation, bump it up to 10 or 15, 20 different crimes that you can do. That way that you don't come across the same thing all the time, like the car crash where there's like victims stuck under cars and stuff, and you do the exact same setup about 20 times, in the one night.
I guess it would be hard though as well. But
Yeah,
you
it would
can
be
go
hard.
back and you can replay like the goon hideouts and all the like the Silver Sable outposts and the prison bloody buildings and stuff. You can go back and replay all those.
I would have loved to do with the crime stuff, if it wasn't even just crimes, if they made it more variation, as in even if there was like a house fire or something like that, or if you had to go even if it was something really simple like going to help like someone injured or someone's hurt and you got to take them really quick.
Like in Spider-Man 2 where they're hanging off the side of the building, or I was hit by a car and you got to pick them up, you got to carry them to the hospital, and
Actually,
there's like a time meter.
they're kind of annoying, aren't they?
Yeah, remember that?
But maybe
Well, the little girl's lost her balloon and you got to fucking get the balloon back.
something different anyway. It would have been pretty cool to do.
But it's great though, because the thing that keeps bringing me back is like I've done everything and I don't really want to play it, but then I think about like the photo mode and the different costumes that I can wear, and like I just want to go in and I'll swing around and maybe I'll be able to capture a good photo on that. And
I put it on nearly every night.
And like myself, Matt, especially Matt Dobson. Now we mentioned Matt earlier. He's mad for it. He loves the bloody photo mode. He keeps going back and
loves it. All
the different costumes and stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the DLC pack. Definitely New Game Plus, because I felt like I didn't really get to... I did enjoy the story, but it felt a bit too disjointed for me because I was taking breaks and doing all the side mission stuff.
Yeah.
Like when the research outpost came up, like I pretty much just went and did all of them.
Yeah.
In one go. I'm going to do all of them now. I'm going to go find all the bags. I pretty much did that first thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do all the photo locations. I did all that. I pretty much just, as it came up, I just went and ticked it all off.
Yeah.
So as it went, so I didn't really, and then I took big chunks of time away from the story, and then I finally decided to go do the story. Yeah.
Mine was more spaced out. I think I would do probably 10 different things. Like collect 10 bags or something, and then do a story mission, and then do more after, and then just keep going. Yeah, picking at them here and there.
Yeah. What else did I enjoy? I enjoyed the story elements. I liked Aunt May. I liked how. She wasn't like old and feeble and stuff. She was a stronger woman.
Yeah,
she had a job and stuff. And spoiler alert, she dies at the end.
Yeah, I thought
I didn't expect that.
That was like I thought that was a real smart move. I know that sounds like I didn't want her to die, but then the way they used that in the storyline was so strong because it just really made Peter or Spider-Man, just way more heroic in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like he was a true hero in a way because he could have just saved. He could have
saved her and let countless others die.
Yeah, but he did the smarter thing and.
She was like, you'll do the right thing. What's the with great power comes great responsibility.
Meant so much more.
He was gonna do it, and then he was like, nah, he just knew.
Such a powerful scene too.
Yeah,
that was smart, and
I liked it though because now they've stepped away from kind of the classic Spider-Man thing
with
even more
all the time.
So he's been Spidey for 8 years or whatever. He's pretty mature. He's really good at what he does. Now kind of Aunt May's out of the way and he's got to kind of grow up a bit more. And now obviously him and Mary Jane get back together at the end of the game. But then Miles becomes a Spider-Man as well. And obviously Peter's going to move into like a mentor role, and he's going to become become the father figure, the Spider Dad,
Yeah.
So,
one thing I'm really excited about for this game, especially since the success of it now, it's just like, it's just went straight to the top, this game, which means that, and they've even announced it, how they're like, this is only the beginning. They're going to turn this into like, how we have our Marvel movies, MCU, and we've had like 20 movies since 2008 or something of in the MCU. So I feel like this is the start of that. We've got our first Marvel game, and now we're going to have all these other games, but
Marvel video game universe,
Spider-Man, but it's just going to go forever. And that's all I could ever dream of, is actually having all these games where, just so much, all the classic Spider-Man stuff happens in the games, or they do their own versions or whatever. We get to come across all the different villains. It just keeps going. And we probably run into the Avengers and all them.
But then I don't think as well that, like, Insomniac would want to just make Spider-Man games forever. They'll probably make another one or two.
They might expand
But then
them.
they may do something else, They might, we want to go back and do another Sunset Overdrive or another Infamous game or something like that. Yeah, I liked where this is going.
Stoked.
This is kind of something that I pictured maybe for the next game they could do. So, like, Peter is kind of going to be a mentor to Miles. And so I guess when the next game picks up, he'll maybe be very competent spider person, maybe not a Spider-Man yet. But, I thought it would be cool if in the next game you would switch between playing Peter and Miles, and you would swing around and stuff. They would have different swing styles, different fighting styles, so it wouldn't feel the same when you played as either character. But then you could play 2-player.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if you and I want to jump online, or you want to, hey, Pat, jump into my session, let's do this cooperative section. We'll just swing around the city together, and, we can do this boss fight. This boss fight's made for 2. Or there'd be, like, a whole multiplayer thing where you could, one person plays as Miles and the other one plays as Peter. And you could kind of do that. But then I don't know what they would do, because essentially both characters in the books, they're both Spider-Man, but you can't call them both Spider-Man, so I don't know what they do there.
I was kind of hoping that there'd be a little bit more differences between Spider-Man and Miles. So, like, I really wanted Miles to be a lot even younger, maybe even 13, 14, but have such a much smaller structure. Because at the moment, he looks like the same body type and height as Peter.
Yeah.
I would have loved him to be a smaller, more... Because then when he's, like, super strong and he can lift cars and stuff, it just looks so much cooler. He's this smaller little thing, that... And then just, have him with the... I quite liked his look in this, though. Like, I love how he looks. I just wanted him to be a little bit shorter or something,
Yeah, fair enough.
And
just to make him a little more dissimilar.
Yeah,
So
not same body type. So, like, that I didn't want the same body type.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
Just to be different.
One other thing I didn't like before we start to wrap up our Spider-Man chat was...
Yeah.
I just thought it was really cheesy. But when you first see Electro and you're chasing him around, and he's got his suit and that on, and like the whole front of it's like kind of lightning bolt shaped, and I was like, eh.
Oh yeah.
And then you look at his face, and he's got the scar on his face, but it's shaped like his classic electric lightning bolt mask, and I was like, really?
He didn't like that?
No, I was just like, it's Spider-Man with a big helping of cheese on top.
Oh, really?
I was like, come on, man. I was like, you could have done a scar, but you didn't have to do it shaped like the lightning bolt mask. I thought it was a bit cringe.
I didn't mind
like,
that was too minor for me. I didn't mind it. Didn't mind it. We should talk about Venom. Is going to probably be in it.
Yeah,
not the movie. Don't worry about that movie.
We'll get to that in a minute.
I mean, in this game, there's at the end there. With
Harry's not in Europe at the end. He's locked up in
that tank.
In the tank, and there's like a symbiote in there.
It's kind of like, what is it? Trying to heal him? It's like it's keeping him alive or something.
Probably.
Which is really cool. That's kind of a good twist. Hey, they're going to. I mean, it's not really done, is it, in the comics and stuff?
No.
Harry becomes Venom.
In the Ultimate Spider-Man books, Venom is actually created by Peter's and Eddie Brock's dad. They work in a lab together, and they create.
Yeah, that's
I think they're trying to make a cure for cancer, and they create the symbiote, but it goes bullshit.
Yeah, I can't wait. I hope they do something with Venom.
You just want to see Venom all the time. Venom is not that good. Obviously, by this movie, so we'll get to that shortly.
No, I want it in the next storyline, so that we get the black suit. We get that kind of.
We'll get the black suit eventually.
And also, I'm just really kind of counting on the Green Goblin to finally show up. But like I've said before, I really, really want him to be...
the big mutated goblin.
I want him to be an actual kind of goblin.
Yeah.
So he's big eyes, big kind of like Joker kind of feel about him, big laughing smile, and he's real creepy. Not like I don't
like the Ultimate Spider-Man Green Goblin.
Yeah, I don't want him to be. Just
but he doesn't wear a
big
purple cape.
I don't want him to be mechanical and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair enough. A little something different.
I want him to be. I want that for the movies too. I want that for Spider-Man Homecoming movies. I want. If we're gonna ever get a Green Goblin, I want him to be a real Goblin.
There were two other things that were pretty much ripped straight off Batman Arkham games.
Yeah.
The police towers at the beginning, where you've got to activate the police towers, and you've got to like sync up the scanner thing. It was exactly the same as like the thingy amplifier out of the Batman Arkham games.
Yeah.
You got to match up the syncs, and then you hold it, and then it activates or whatever. It was straight out of Arkham. And then there was another part in the game where the Scorpion poisons you. And you go into, like, this big scarecrow. Like, there's bloody lava rising from the thing. You gotta swing, like, a fear toxin kind of thing. Which is, like, straight out of the first Batman game.
Those radio tower things were quite useless, really. Because Peter was supposed to be quite well-known in New York. Like, he probably already knew it all, wasn't it? Because you had to get them all to kind of unlock your mini-map. It's like you didn't know where you were going or something.
it was just another video game thing to get them, they had to justify getting the mini-map somehow.
Yeah.
We can sync into GPS and that now, so you have a little map.
Like,
thanks,
didn't mind them too much, because it was done pretty quick anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't take long.
Yeah, but it was exactly the same as Arkham, where you get the quadric amplifier or whatever it's called, and when you got to unlock doors, you got to sync up the thing on, and the thing explodes, and I think that's pretty much it. I
think so.
I did remember when I messaged you when I finished the game, and I was like, I was really into it, but I think I said to you, I was like 200% invested into that last mission and the ending of the game. And I was like, you'll know it when you get to it. And you're like, oh, I can't wait. But like that final fight with Doc Ock, fucking sick.
That was amazing.
And then all the
classic
story
stuff, like
at the end.
On the side of a building, having your final face off. He's like, half his mask is ripped off.
That was perfect at the end too. Like all the Norman stuff, and then Aunt May, and then jump 6 months later, and Peter and MJ get together and they kiss over the booth or whatever, and then it ends, and they have the 2 after credit scenes. Like, it's like a Marvel movie.
I didn't get why how Peter had to create that special suit for the last fight. I didn't really get what that would have helped, because it didn't seem to have any kind of extra abilities like that could have.
It's just a video game thing, man. Just to be like,
I
need to. This is so I can go up against him.
Yeah,
it's just another costume to wear, essentially.
They didn't really explain it, like what it does,
and like how quickly did he put it together? Like I imagine it'd take a long time to shape this suit to your
it looked like it would have taken months
and everything, and it would have taken months to make, and he slaps it together in a couple of hours.
Yeah,
go Peter.
Unless he had planned or something, had it planned.
Patrick Brown, did you love Spider-Man on PS4?
I absolutely loved it.
Would you recommend it to the 5 people out there that haven't played it?
I would. Go get it now.
What would you give it out of 5?
5.
Really?
Don't even hesitate. Yep.
So
5.
It was flawless.
Oh, yeah.
I like how you kind of blink it just like, oh, yeah.
Don't even hesitate, mate. It's a 5. It's everything I've always wanted. Even though I always, I've got these little nitpicks about it. They're the tiniest things. They don't affect my score at all.
I would definitely recommend it. Go out and play it, but I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't give it a perfect score. It wasn't flawless. There's a lot of stuff in there you pull apart.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, it's perfect in that, and then that time I went around your house and I was like, yeah, this and yeah, that. And you're like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that wasn't very good, that bit. Yeah. I was like, I've done it. I've swayed him. I've swayed him on Spider-Man. Marvel Spider-Man on PS4. If you haven't played it, just go and fucking get it. What's stopping you?
Yep.
Jesus.
It's a must-have.
Patrick Brown, I guess we better talk about Venom, eh?
Yep, that movie. Yeah.
No, I've written nothing for Venom. I will start by saying...
Let's just wing it.
I will start by saying that you were excited to go see it. And coming up to it, I said to you... What was it, last week? The week before?
Yeah.
I said to you guys, I'm like, I do not give a fuck about this movie at all. Like, I have zero expectations for this movie. I don't care. I do want to see it, kind of, but I just kind of want to see what it ends up being. Like, I don't care whether I like it or hate it.
You've never been a Venom fan, have you?
No, I've been a Venom fan, but I just think 90s kids get too wrapped up in Venom because he looks real cool, but he's not necessarily the most interesting character. I think there are so many more interesting characters with a hell of a lot more depth than Venom. He's pretty much just like brute Spider-Man, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think he looks great. He looks cool. The gnarly teeth are great. The big tongue, the symbol and everything looks great. But I don't necessarily think he's, a fantastic character. He's a good character. Like, he's interesting enough, but I don't think there's anything too special about him, to be honest. Yeah. It's more of a nostalgia thing for most people. Most people like Venom because he just looks cool.
Yeah.
I
was just glad they did his look right. Like, I actually thought his... and I love how they went all full 3D with him, and he's like, CGI, sorry, and he's just like real monstrous and
big,
beefy and
brutish,
and his teeth and his tongue and his eyes, everything just looked so spot on and how he should look. So I was really glad they pulled that off. Did a great job, and I thought Tom Hardy's casting was perfect.
I thought Tom Hardy did the best with what he had.
Yeah,
I feel like.
But when I watched the movie, after I watched the actual movie and saw his whole performance, there's a number of moments in there I was like, I wish he didn't do that, or that was cringe, that bit there, or too silly, and there's a lot of moments there I was like, ugh. But that's what happened to me. But overall, he still has that kind of Eddie Brock kind of, and he's got the look. That's what Eddie Brock should look like. Him.
When we were watching it, because it was like 4 or 5 of us that went, I was sitting there, and the first act was playing through the first act.
Yep.
And I did not like it at all. I
hated it too.
I was sitting there, and I was getting real squirmy in my seat, and I kind of looked at Bob, and I kind of looked over to you, and I was like, this is shit. Like, I fucking hate this.
It had a vibe about it.
Like, I hate it.
It's how they throw off a vibe that, like, when you're watching a certain movie and it just has this vibe about it that's not enjoyable, or it just throws off a kind of like a unlikable kind of vibe. You're like, this is just get to the next bit.
Yeah, I just didn't like
had that.
I'm just like, where's Venom? Where's the symbiote? Let's get to that, because I feel like it's going to pick up. Like, I didn't like the first act at all.
I didn't even think,
I was watching that, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But once the symbiote got together with Venom, it started to get a bit more interesting. I'm like, okay, it's getting interesting now. I'm enjoying this just a bit more. Okay, right, I'm watching.
See, I didn't even think like that. I was like, I wasn't like kind of get to Venom and that, because I would have rather them do it right, the first act, and just be like, make it more interesting. Spend some time as Eddie Brock and do the storyline properly. And I don't care how long it takes to get to Venom, as long as it's interesting and getting there. But what they did was it was really muddy, everything, and like I said to you before, it just felt like the movie was on fast forward, because they're just like, oh, here's this bit, and now we're at this bit, and now we're here, and now we're there, and then let's just get to this bit, and it was way too mashed together and just rushed. It felt really rushed.
Yeah, I have these feelings about it, but I'm finding that all the people who didn't like the movie all feel the same. We kind of all have the similar opinions. We're all, because like, I was watching it, and I feel like I was watching it and I was thinking about it. I never actually said it, but I'm like, this does feel like a pre-MCU movie. Like, it exists in its own tiny little bubble. It feels like a Fantastic Four or a Daredevil or an Electro. It's that one person in their tiny little bubble in this movie. And then when we come out, Bob said exactly the same thing.
I've heard other people.
He said exactly the same thing. I was like, I was thinking that. I exactly felt the same way.
Talking to Quinny as well when I was in Sydney, and he said the same thing. He goes, it feels like a movie that was made in 2003 or 4, and it's just like, really, like, they didn't know how a superhero formula should be done, kind of thing. Or not even superhero, just make it interesting, make it flow better. And
I felt like the Eddie and Venom stuff, some of it was good. Like, I did find it more interesting and stuff, but I got a lot of nitpicks about it. I got a lot of bad things to say. Like, I was watching it, and all this Venom stuff's happening, and then it felt like I was getting, toward, like, when I was watching it, I felt like we got to a certain point in the movie, and I felt like we've just gotten to the end of the second act. Yeah. I was like, okay, now we're going to ramp up into the third act, and it's going to be a big action thing, and then it's going to end, and there's going to be something funny that happens at the end, roll credits. Yeah. So I'm watching it, and I was sitting there in my chair, and they come out of this forest scene. I'm like, that feels like the end of the second act. And then it went, like, straight into, like,
the
for
finale.
Lack of a better term, the finale, the boss fight.
I know.
Like, did we just miss, like, did I just, like, go narcoleptic and just fall asleep for 20 minutes? Because I felt like it just the second act ended, and then it jumped straight to the finale.
It's like they're like, all right, that's enough movie. Let's just wrap it up.
Yeah, let's watch them fight.
That's just what it was like, and I really didn't enjoy the symbiote fights when they're clashing together, because I couldn't even make out what the hell was going on, and it was too close. Like the cameras were just way too close up to them, so all you could see was all this moving goo and like clashes, and most of it you're relying on sound effects.
Yeah,
you just hear the punches and and then it was just like, oh.
Patrick Brown, you always fucking say it. Like, you say this to me. You're pretty much like the guy that pointed this out to me. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, you're so fucking right. There's a scene where, it's pretty much the first fight scene where, Eddie and the symbiote are one, and they're Venom.
Yep.
And he gets to the bottom of the building, and like all these security guards or cops and that come running in.
Oh, yeah.
And like, okay, here we go. There's going to be a fight scene. There's going to be an action scene. And Patrick Brown said to me, I don't know, it was probably a year or two ago, you're like, I watch these action movies and that, and there's like this big brute guy or something like that, but they just throw each other around.
Yeah.
They just pick them up and they'll throw them into a wall, or they'll throw them through a window, or they'll throw them. They never actually punch or kill anyone. Like, they're capable of like, Superman and Batman, he's capable of just punching him straight through the chest and ripping his heart out, but he never does it. He just throws him around. And I was sitting there and I was watching that, and he's just throwing these guys around. I'm like, Pat is so fucking right. That's what they always do in these movies. He just picks them up and throws them around.
That fact, especially in a movie like this, Venom takes it right down to almost like a PG rating.
They did want that PG rating.
Did. But it really just took away that kind of threat of Venom. Like, okay, so you're not going to do much then.
There's one scene where he's meant to bite some guy's head off. Yeah. But in the scene, he looks like he kind of grabs him and goes to throw him off to the side. He kind of turns to throw him away from camera, but he kind of does like this bite snap. And it doesn't look like, it looks like he clips something on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the next scene and Venom's walking away, and you hear like Eddie or whatever. He's like, did you just bite that guy's head off? And he's like, yeah, I did. And I was like, what?
I know.
No, and then like I didn't even see him clamp. It looked like he clamped onto like his. Oh, I know. He was wearing like a shoulder thing, and he just like clamped onto his shoulder real quick. He didn't even go near his head.
Nothing. And they did it at the end of the movie too, where he apparently that thug who's trying to rob the place or take the money from that woman.
That's in the trailer, yeah.
And apparently
he's got a parasite or whatever he says.
Yeah, and apparently he ate the dude, I suppose, because you look back, you can actually see a clear view of where they were both standing when it happened.
And there should have been blood, there was guts and ass everywhere.
Yeah, there should have been a sign of something.
That PG rating.
So obviously he's either ate the entire dude like a freaking python and just like consumed the whole dude, or they've I don't know. They just didn't do that well.
Again, I did like some of the Eddie and Venom dynamic back and forward. It did kind of feel like a bit of that. I never got the feeling like they were one unit, because obviously he's a symbiote. They need each other. I never felt like they were both Venom. I felt like it was more just the symbiote and he was the host. And the symbiote was doing all the work, and Eddie was just going along for the ride. That's what I felt like. And especially the fact that the symbiote's like, pretty much threatening him. He's like, if I leave you, you're dead. Like, so you now you rely on me. Because the symbiotes, there's this. They play out the scene where like the host for the symbiotes are actually killing them. They're so strong, but they're keeping them alive. I don't know. Keeping them alive. Eddie has this. The symbiote has this throwaway line where like, no, I'll keep you alive. But I'm like, isn't the symbiote actually meant to be killing him? But then it doesn't actually. That never goes anywhere. Yeah, because the idea I had from what they established in the movie was like the Venom actually says to Eddie when he's on him, and he's like, "I'm keeping you alive, or I'll kill you. You need to do what I say, or something." So he's basically threatening him. But then later on, Eddie just kind of throws that away. He's like, that's fine. We're friends. Like, it's just got so stupid like that. There was a lot of cringe moments in that movie. Two other things like I didn't like. Like, one was just so simple. Like, when the symbiote first merges to him, he's like, "What are you?" He's like, "I am Venom." Like, he already has the name Venom. Yeah. And I'm just like, you're a space alien off a meteor. Like, why would you have the name Venom? And then like when you see the other symbiote, the Riot, he's just like, "What the hell is that?" He's like, "That's Riot." And I'm like, why the fuck would an alien be called Riot? Like, why? I
Yeah.
understand they've got names in the comics and that, but couldn't you have, like, tried to explain that? Or just not said their name at all?
Yeah.
Or just, like, left the whole Venom thing until the end, the whole, like, we are Venom. Like,
And
right
how
at the end.
they rushed through and they were just like, oh, let's just have a she-Venom for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And that was so throwaway because it's just like, the girlfriend gets, she's obviously she-Venom for a little bit and takes down a couple of dudes and then, gives it back to him, and then she just acts like nothing's happened. She's like, yep, that was cool.
Yeah, like you watch all the other people who are hosts and that, and it's like, it's a very select few people that can actually bond, like perfectly bond to the symbiotes.
Exactly.
And it just so happens that Eddie can perfectly bond with Venom, and his ex-girlfriend can perfectly bond with Venom and that as well.
She looks like fucking Gwen Stacy.
And then the main villain, he can bond with the other symbiote and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like...
Everything was just so...
Yeah, it was cringe.
That was probably one of the strongest points where it felt so much like a early 2000s movie.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, let's just do this cool bit here. And
yeah, like it just exists in its own little bubble.
And she apparently can get into any facility. She got into the
She did
Venom
too!
facility.
Like the rocket base
And
thing
the
and that as
rocket
well.
base.
That's just built off the San Francisco Bay or whatever.
She's got a master key for the city or something.
And they're launching fucking space shuttles just across the
Yeah.
bay from San Francisco. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know.
Who would do that? Like, who would allow that? I'm like, come on, man.
There's a lot of dodgy stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit stuff in there. Even the director, Ruben Fleischer, he said, what about the plot hole of where the symbiote first bonds with the lady in a different country at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
And then she you see her in the trailer, she shoots out all the spikes and that and impales like 3 guys around her. And then it jumps to 6 months later.
6 months later.
And then it's like...
She looks the same.
He was just like, yeah, that's a bit of a plot hole, but I just imagine that she would have just been walking around wherever it was, Mongolia or whatever, and just eating people and impaling them on spikes. I'm like, that's a really shit excuse for your
6 months
massive Grand Canyon-sized plot hole.
Yeah. And and the fact, like, at the end when Venom decides, I like Earth now, I'm gonna stay here now because back home they treat me like shit or something.
That was the other thing I was going to bring up. When the symbiote bonds to Eddie, he's like, you're a loser, Eddie, and all this shit. You're a loser. And then at the end, like, when he's fighting Riot, he's like, he's got shit you've never seen. He's better than us. He's like, where I come from, I'm kind of a loser as well. Yeah. And it just takes away all that kind of gravity and the threatening side of Venom. Like, he's the dope wherever he comes from.
Yeah.
He's a nobody. And I'm just like, it just kind of takes away that loftiness of the character, the imposing,
exactly.
of the character in that as well. But
that's like saying like a xenomorph, if they could talk, like the one we got in Alien 1, and apparently we found out that's like I'm
the runt of the litter.
That's just like the parasite on my parrot. I'm the parasite on my planet. I'm like nothing.
I'm pond scum from where I come from. It's just a lot of it was really badly done. But let's talk about the end credits scene.
Oh yeah.
Eddie goes to the prison and there's Cletus Cassidy. There's Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy, and I laughed because I was so appalled at the terrible dialogue. Eddie goes to interview Cletus Cassidy, and he kind of he writes "Welcome Eddie" in his own blood on the side of his cell, and I'm like,
and did you notice he's in a straitjacket? His arms aren't out, and
I never noticed that.
And did you notice there is no body around? There's nowhere he could have got that blood or
it was
paint.
It was his own blood because he was getting it from his arm. I remember there was a scene where he was like, he got it from his arm and then he was like drawing "Welcome Eddie." He'd written it on the inside of his cell, so it was his own blood.
Because I looked it up after, and apparently he's in a straitjacket and he can't move.
But I saw I'm positive I saw his arms exposed, and he was writing on the whatever.
Well, maybe that, but the amount of blood you would need for that is insane.
The worst line of dialogue in the entire movie, he's like, "When I get out of here, there's gonna be carnage," and I was just like, I was like, that was awful.
Oh, you haven't mentioned the worst part, that friggin' wig.
His wig. I didn't think it was too bad.
Really? Oh,
I thought that was probably the second best thing in that movie, the bad wig.
That shocked me because, when I first heard the rumor of Woody Harrelson in this movie, and I thought, he's going to be Carnage. I kind of knew that. and my vision was like, that's a good choice. I could see him as being a cool, creepy serial killer. I don't
really agree, because Eddie Brock was always, like, we'll just go back to the comic. Eddie Brock was the big, muscle-bound guy. He worked out. He was big. He was tanky. He was tall. Cletus Cassidy was, you know, the little weird kid. He was real scrawny and short, and he was the kid that tortured and murdered animals.
And that's why Carnage looks so scrawny.
He was the freak and stuff, you know. So he was just like the little weedy, like, pathetic character that didn't really look like too much of a threat, but he was a serial killer.
True, yeah.
And so I didn't really... I was like, you could have just...
Could have had a Jake Gyllenhaal kind of thing.
Yes, you could have had a Jake Gyllenhaal in there. Get a scrawny Jake Gyllenhaal.
Get a scrawny Jake Gyllenhaal.
Or whatever his name is. Fuck, I've forgotten his name. Who played?
No, you're right.
Rorschach in Watchmen. What's his fucking name? I've forgotten his name.
That really skinny dude when he was in, like, you know, when he was in that King Kong movie, who was in Predators.
Oh, Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody, dude. When he was super, because he's like really tall, but he's also got like super skinny arms and stuff. He would have done a cool one.
Yeah, he could have done it as well.
But when I saw Woody, like when I first thought, okay, he could be a cool, creepy serial killer. But then when I saw him in the actual film as
Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah, Cletus Cassidy. I was like, oh, and that, because he's one of those actors, I should say, that you just recognize as the bald guy. He's always bald in every role. So when he had that wig, it was just way too obvious. And the choice of wig was like almost like a clown wig. It was all curly. I've never seen a human being with that type of hair, and even that color tone.
Carrot top.
It wasn't even like Rango Carrot Top. It was kind of like a dyed red. You know, if you went and dyed your hair a weird red.
Yeah.
And it looked so fake and a bit cringy, I thought.
Yeah, it wasn't too great.
No, don't know.
The most interesting character in the movie was the new boyfriend, the Doctor. He was definitely the most interesting, most well-rounded character. If I had one positive thing to say about this, Tom Hardy. Like, watching this movie now, we know that Tom Hardy is quite the physical comedian. So he can do physical comedy. So that's one thing I learned about Tom Hardy.
I couldn't laugh at any of it, though.
And that's
none of it got me.
You know, he was very good at it, regardless whether it was funny or not. You know, he was very good at it. He inhabited it quite well.
Oh, yeah. I think the only bit I didn't really laugh at any, I don't think. Not much. I could say.
It was bad. It was a bad movie.
He tried, though. He did a good job. I think he did a good job.
He did the best he could with what he had.
Because the problems weren't him. The whole movie, anything about that movie wasn't really him. It was just everything around it, story, everything.
Yeah,
the way it was edited.
It just wasn't done very well.
So there's nothing on him. So if they had a sequel, which there's probably likely.
Oh, there's definitely going to be a sequel because it's made money.
I reckon they'll do it right next time.
It's like the biggest movie in Germany ever. The biggest opening in Germany.
Oh, that's good. Like I'm actually, even though I'm not really stoked on this movie, I'm quite disappointed in this one. I'm happy that there's going to be a sequel because I want to see more of it. If it's done right.
I'm just so indifferent about it.
They got to do it right though, and I just want it to be. Just chuck him in with Spider-Man finally, eventually, you know. They're meant to be together.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point in having Venom on his own.
Patrick Brown, did you like Venom?
No.
Patrick Brown, would you recommend Venom?
No, I wouldn't pay to see it. I would probably... If someone lends it to you, maybe, but I wouldn't. It's the thing. Some people like it. Don't take my opinion.
Yeah,
because some people really like it.
Are enjoying this. It's more the casual film goer who just wants to go in and have a good time is enjoying this movie. But someone who's more into film, is more interested in kind of the technical side, the story side, they're not liking it as much.
I've seen worse movies.
Yeah. What would you give it out of 5, Patrick Brown?
I was going to go below 2, but I'm going to be a little bit generous and give it a 2 out of 5.
Okay. I did not like this movie. I think it's the worst movie I've seen this year.
Yeah.
I would recommend it if you're just a casual movie person who just wants to go and have a good time, if you get in cheaply, or just wait for it on Netflix, or if someone lends it to you, or if you really have to see it, just illegally download it or whatever. Just do that. I would give it a 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Because a 1's still a star, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Good. Makes sense.
So we've had 2 Spider-Man things today,
right.
Spider-Man PS4 and Venom. Patrick Brown, if people can find you online. Well, they can find you online, but if they want to find you online, where can they go?
PatrickBrownArt.com. That's my official website. I am on Instagram a fair bit, so you can find me on Patrick Brown Art on Instagram, and the same on Facebook. Got a Facebook page.
Sweet as.
And DeviantArt.
Yep.
There you go.
And RedTube. RedTube.com/Patrick Brown. And if you want to find the Bearded Geeks on Facebook, I stuffed that up 2 weeks in a row. If you want to find the Bearded Geeks online, you can go to Facebook, facebook.com/Bearded Geeks Pod. If you want to listen to the show, you can check us out on SoundCloud and iTunes, where you can also download the show. And we're also on YouTube if you're so inclined to hang out there more often. We're on Twitter at Bearded Geeks Pod, and we're on Instagram at the Bearded Geeks. If you want to buy a t-shirt, where can you go, Patrick?
TeePublic.
TeePublic.com. Yep. Search for the Bearded Geeks.
Nice.
That's pretty much it.
Go buy a shirt.
Go buy a shirt.
Buy a couple.
Yeah, we got to put some more designs up.
More energy.
Yeah, more energy. It's like coming.
It's like coming. Every day.
I'm sure there's some great Arnold Schwarzenegger t-shirts. Check them out as well while you're there.
Get to the gym.
Get to the gym. I don't have to go far to go to the gym, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for you to invite me around. I just want one
quick
paired on session where we just... I'm going to keep pace with you.
Come around, mate. We will.
I'm going to put my sweatband on.
Yep.
I'm going to play some motivational music before I go, you're the best around.
It'll be good.
Wow. Next week, I've got an idea for an episode, but I'm not sure. Next week is Red Dead Redemption 2. That'll be out on the Friday. We won't be doing an episode about Red... And I think it'll be quite a while before we do an episode about Red Dead 2. So I think you guys will be waiting a little while because we'll be talking about that probably in quite a lot of depth. But then we'll be going back and making notes about our Red Dead episode we did last year about things we wanted to see and see how close we were to what's in the final game.
Yeah.
We've got Halloween coming up. I reckon I'll definitely do an episode of that probably before or after Halloween. It probably won't be too long after, but I reckon we'll be definitely doing an episode for that. Like I said, there's Daredevil Season 3. I've got an idea in mind for an episode of my own. It's a pretty big one. But yeah, I've also got the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and lots of other things coming up. So there's plenty more for us, or for you guys, or whatever. We'll be here. You know where to find us.
Yeah, boy.
Thanks for coming, mate.
No, thank you, mate.
It's good to see you.
It's always good to come.
He's got a goatee, though, guys. I'm a bit wary of it.
You don't like it, do you?
I don't know.
I've stunned him.
Does the missus like it?
Yeah.
Well, that's all that matters.
Oh, she loves it,
that's
mate. She's the one who said, you should just shave the sides. It looks so much better. I was like, all right, I'll give it a go.
You look like General Zod.
Try that. Oh, yeah.
My name is General Zod. Kneel before Brown.
The goat.
Yeah, that's fine. You'll see it on the socials. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our Spider-Man PS4 episode. We finally got around to it, and Venom, too. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all next week on the Bearded Geeks.
Hey!